If you ever wanted to watch a movie where a Jewish actor accidentally impersonates Adolf Hitler, we might have the movie for you. We watched 2001's Rat Race, and this is Geeked Out.
Popcorn in our hands, ready for the show. From the classics to the blockbusters, we're always in the know. Throwing references like confetti, we keep it real. Geeked Out Podcast, we to make you feel. We're the critics you can trust.
Hey, everybody, welcome into another episode of Geeked Out. My name is Kyle.
Juan here.
And as I said in the intro this week, we're finishing off our our series of underrated films. This was my pick, and I chose the movie Rat Race as a comedy originally released on August 17th, 2001. The movie was directed by Jerry Zucker. For those of you who don't know who that is, he also directed the classic comedic film Airplane. This movie has a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. It has a 45% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes with a 64% audience score. The cast of this movie, is out of this world. There are so many recognizable names, whether they be comedic actors or non-comedic actors, but just to run through them real quick, we've got Breckin Meyer, Cuba Gooding Jr., Seth Green, you've got Whoopi Goldberg, John Lovitz, Kathy Najimy, Rowan Atkinson, John Cleese, Dave Thomas, and Amy Smart. You've even got my Superman, Dean Cain, thrown in there in a small role.
Yours, Superman.
Oh,
Really?
he is my Superman, 100%.
He's been in a lot of slack lately. He's been doing some shit. He's going off. I think he's like heavy Trump supporter or something like that. I don't want to be political in here. I think he's just been going on a tear in the last couple of years, just giving his opinion and people not liking it. I don't know. He's been getting a lot of slack lately. But I need to watch the Avengers.
I was a big fan when I was a kid of the Adventures of Lois and Clark. So, and we've talked about this before. I didn't watch the Superman movies when I was a kid because I was never really a big Superman fan. So that was really my foray into a live action Superman. And it's kind of that nostalgia where he's always kind of been my embodiment of Superman.
That's what's up.
But this movie, on an estimated, I'll say estimated, $48 million budget, made just under $85.5 million worldwide. And we'll give a quick plot synopsis. Las Vegas casino magnate, played by John Cleese, who is determined to find a new avenue for wagering, sets up a race for $2 million for 6 strangers he chooses at random. And, obviously there's more than 6 in the cast, but you've got, like, Breckin Meyer teams up with Amy Smart. You've got John Lovitz, who's on family vacation. His wife is Kathy Najimy. So the main ones are Breckin Meyer, Seth Green and his brother, Rowan Atkinson, Cuba Gooding Jr., Whoopi Goldberg, and John Lovitz. And then they've all got kind of supporting characters around them, whether they be family or whatnot. I want to ask you, when did you first see this movie? Do you remember seeing it in 2001, or did you come to it later?
Definitely a blockbuster. Probably.
This wasn't a theater thing for me.
I definitely remember renting this at Blockbuster, and more than likely it was the first week, if not the second week. It just depends on how many movies they put out that were rentable. But yeah, this was definitely a Blockbuster watch. And then when because we had the Movie Network here in Canada,
hell yeah,
where they would frequently play a lot of movies. It was usually a couple months or even a few. It was definitely like a month after movies would come to home for rental or home release that it would appear on Movie Network. And I think I definitely rewatched that movie quite a few times on the Movie Network, just because it was one of those movies they played a lot, even after it like premiered, and they play it so many times after, when it premieres. It was one of those movies that was just on rotation. I remember watching it quite a few times within the first few years that it came out. And then I haven't watched it since my rewatch a few days ago.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a blockbuster. I can't really remember that exactly, but you're absolutely right. We had the movie networks as well, and I was always on there seeing what was coming up. And I remember we even had that before like the digital cable, so there was no guide to know. You had to get out the TV guide for those of you who are old enough to remember that those days. And you'd have to see all this movies coming on, and you get excited for it. But yeah, I remember watching this movie a lot when it came out over the first few years. Especially my buddy and I used to watch it all the time. We thought it was absolutely hysterical, and I hadn't watched it in probably 10 to 15 years before this rewatch. I remember it being like absolutely hysterical. I will say on this rewatch, I still really enjoyed it. I don't think it was quite as funny as I remember it, and that I mean that could be because I've seen it so many times, so there was no real surprises. Like I remember when I first put it on for this rewatch, it was kind of like I remembered little beats of it here and there, but within a few minutes, I was remembering like lines and scenes, and I could basically close my eyes and be like, yeah, I can just recite this movie. That's how many times I had seen it back in the day.
Yeah, same here. It like all came back to me. And I found it pretty much as funny as I did back then. There were some because the movie, it once everyone is racing and you get the pairs, everyone splits off and you spend time with each a little bit of time with each group. There were some pairings that were to me much funnier than other ones. And then you had some that g- got some chuckles throughout the movie. Yeah, it was pretty consistent chuckles, but nothing. There was particularly two actors. Whenever we followed them, that's where I got my actual like legit laugh out loud, almost to the point of tears moments.
Now, when you say so, you said there were two quote unquote groups that you didn't find quite as funny.
Um,
I wonder if they were the same as the ones I.
here, I mean, each group had a moment where I did legit
Oh, they
laugh.
definitely all had their moments.
Oh, for sure. But throughout their scenes, I got, kind of like just a little chuckle, but not like a straight laugh. So it wasn't unfunny. It didn't make me roll my eyes. Yeah, I got like a decent little chuckle.
So who did
But
which of the pairs did you think were the worst, or the pairs groups, whatever you want to call them? Which of the ones did you find that were kind of lacking?
for me, say the least was probably the Myers. Would you say?
Breckenmeyer and Amy Smart.
Yeah, yeah. Even though they did have their moments, he to me he's never been funny in any of his movie really. It's just, and I just don't. He's just one of those actors I don't care for, and I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Mm.
So yeah, whenever they was on the movie focused on them, I kind of it was
I
just okay.
I mean I'll
I
agree.
would
I'm sorry. What?
anytime they came on screen, I just was wondering what another group was doing at that time instead of really paying attention to what he was doing because it wasn't really he just doesn't really he's just one of them actors I don't really care for.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. And it's funny because just a year before this, in 2000, came a movie with actually starring both Breckenmeyer and Amy Smart, was Road Trip, which again, he's not the funniest part in that movie, but I think
Oh,
both he and Amy Smart are much more entertaining in Road Trip than they are in this.
yeah, for sure. Amy Smart, you said? Her name?
Yeah.
She was fine in this movie. She actually like made me laugh in the scenes that they were in.
It's him.
and it's really just him and his character, right? His character's kind of lame, boring. So I
Yeah,
understand. But
he's like
Philip,
like when you meet him, it's he's leaving a bachelor party and his buddies trying to get him to stay. And like you find out like his friends like, oh, you want to be like the attorney general and you're afraid to take a chance on anything. And he just
yeah,
seems like that very straight laced, boring. And his friend even calls him out on it. He says he's like, you didn't even gamble. He's like, that's not living, that's hiding.
exactly.
And that's exactly what you see when his character's on screen. He's just a kind of stick in the mud.
Yeah, it just didn't work because you got all these characters that are exaggerated, over the top. I think every other character besides him is over the top, exaggerated, and then he is just kind of like this boring buzzkill of a character. It's just like, ugh,
Yeah.
can we go another couple, please? That's how I felt whenever he came on the screen. I just didn't care for him.
Yeah, he was a little bit tough. Like you say, I did like the Amy Smart part because Amy Smart, almost every time that she's on screen, once, like you say, once they're actually racing, she turns into this almost like psychotic,
Well, it's
like,
because when it
well, that's the
right
her
when
cheating boyfriend.
right when that happens, yeah, then that exaggerated personality definitely came out.
And that scene's
And you
hilarious when she's chasing him down the street. He's in a truck and she's in a helicopter like 8 feet off the ground.
right? It's very impressive the control that she has over the this helicopter. But yeah, she definitely could have killed the fuck out of everybody
Oh,
and
100%.
multiple other people. That shit was insane.
And it looked like
This
it was
movie is
done practically,
like,
like they had stunt people doing it, which kudos to them because holy shit, that those cars were just missing that helicopter.
good, good stunt. It was good scene. It was funny. I liked it. But you know who would have like if you would have just changed that actor to one other actor, he could have played the same type of character, nailed that, and would have added a lot more humor and just natural comedic timing.
Who's
He would have
that?
added, pushed him out with Justin Long.
I think Justin Long might have been too young at that point.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But I think
But that
that's the
type of
type
an
of
actor, yes, completely see that.
perfect for that role.
You know who
You
actually
could have,
wouldn't have been bad doing that role? I don't know if he might have been a little bit too old, would have been Vince Vaughn.
yeah.
I could see Vince Vaughn doing that.
If
Because like
if you're
once
gonna put Vince Vaughn, I want to dial down Vince Vaughn. I don't want an old school Vince Vaughn where
no, and
he's
I think in this role he would have been dialed down because he would have tried, he almost would have been trying to be the straight man next to Amy Smart's like crazy type character.
yeah, it would have been yeah. That
Now
would have
again, I
been
don't
it
know
would
if
have been
the age dynamic between him and Amy Smart would have worked, but uh,
uh you could have had it.
I'm gonna say
That was
that
probably
I'm gonna say the pairing in this movie. I mean that so Breckenmeyer and Amy Smart weren't my first go to. The pairing in
no.
this movie that I wasn't overly crazy on, and a
All right,
lot of it has to do with her daughter, is the Whoopi Goldberg and her.
yeah, because Whoopi's fine. Whoopi's funny.
Well, Whoopi's
Whoopi's
Whoopi.
like good,
Whoopi's great in everything she does.
except for the view. But we're not gonna put.
I don't watch The View, so I don't count that.
I don't even not watch it, but whatever. I'm just fucking being stupid. But yeah, no. Yeah, no. She's fine. It is the daughter that, and it's not even the actor's fault. It's just the direction of the character. I just
It's a nothing
annoying.
character.
It's a nothing character, and it just doesn't really mix well
No, like
with.
her daughter's character is playing like a. I think she says she owns like a cosmetic company, and she's just that typical
Yeah, it's very just cliche.
Business. That's all that matters. Money, 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 and then that's literally all that her character is a run of the mill CEO of a company that all she cares about is the bottom line. And and then
And
for those of you who haven't seen this movie, they play estranged mother and daughter. They haven't seen each other in 20 some years type thing, and they meet the morning before this all happens. So they
and
could have
it,
they could have gone so many different, like they could have done so many different things with these characters, and they do nothing.
it was just that choice of actress too. I just think she just, I don't know if it's a chemistry issue, but the actress doesn't have any comedic chops. And
No,
I think that would be better if you would have gotten like a comedic actress who could have bounced off of Whoopi instead of try. It just seemed like she was trying too hard. The moments where I guess she, I wouldn't say try to be funny, but just moments of
yeah,
scenes
100%.
where
And
not take her serious. It just didn't. It was, I don't know. It was just something I felt the way she played the character that just for me just did not mix well with
yeah,
Whoopi
and
Goldberg's
the
character.
funniest, I mean, the funniest part of their whole arc was the Kathy Bates scene with the squirrels.
That and then when they stole that supercar, that
Oh,
actually
that
I
scene,
actually
yes.
like
And then they get
when
mistaken for like they're in
like crazy
a disabled, like a home for the disabled or something like that. That didn't
that
age very well,
like
but
no, no, there's so what fuck, so many things did not age well. This is a 2001
oh,
comedy.
there's a lot in this movie that doesn't really age
This is a
well.
movie riddled with things that would be no other you just wouldn't do today. No movie would touch certain jokes that they executed in this movie.
Yeah. So
But no,
going
yeah.
from them, who would you say was your favorite grouping, pairing? I wonder if
Oh,
yours is
well,
going to be the same as mine or different.
it's fucking Seth Green and the your boy. I don't even know his name. His brother in the movie.
Vince Villiers.
I always thought that movie was gonna blow that guy up, kind of like Jim Carrey status, because that guy was so funny, man.
You thought
He
this
didn't
movie
even
was
have.
going to blow him up?
I thought he was gonna at least have more, being more comedies, because he was. I was cracking up every time he would talk, and he didn't even really have actual lines.
He was in a great comedy just 2 years later. Another great
I'm sure.
underrated comedy called Grind.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be his launching pad to, be like that funny guy that you needed in a movie.
Yeah, no,
Because
he is
I,
good in this movie.
he was absolutely hilarious.
And then Seth Green is just Seth Green.
That's great. He plays off of him very well. The other guy, it was just, and it's funny because they're like assholes, like scammers. So it's like a lot of it is karma.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I like that it's that typical. Their names are Dwayne and Blaine. Like it's that typical movie trope where they have like the rhyming names. But for some reason, every time they refer to them in this movie, because I don't know why it just got me. It just made me chuckle every time in this movie. But I think it could have just been the two of them. And then I like when they're meeting for the buffet and he's looking. You find out because you find out that he can't talk, but you don't really know why. And when they're at
Yeah.
the buffet meeting about to meet with John Cleese's character, he's looking at his swollen black tongue, it looks like. And the one guy, he says, "Oh my God, you should sue somebody." And Seth Green goes, "Oh, he did it himself. Sent it away for a kit." And I remember even in 2001 watching this going, Who in their right mind would pierce their own tongue?
Some crazy dude that is the smartest. He is the type. I have no doubt that his character would do that shit
No,
by
it,
just
it
spending.
doesn't. It wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, man. And they had, yeah, they to me they had the biggest chuckles. 'Cause just the situations they put themselves in and how so south it goes. They're
Honestly,
just
the
so
the
dumb.
the
They're so
funniest
dumb.
part, the funniest part with those
Ah,
two for me was every time that guy would scream.
pretty much.
I don't know why his scream was just so amusing to me.
That's I think that's also why I was those are probably the parts where I was crying laughing is when he's screaming,
Like when he's on
running from
the
some.
on the hood of the car and Seth Green's
Oh,
running in front of it, and he doesn't realize
yeah,
it until he looks up and sees Seth Green. He looks back into the car's empty.
'cause it sounds like he's really terrified.
It
It's
does. He
like
has a very good movie scream.
very, very, very good, very convincing. I think that's what adds to the funny of that scene. And then when he falls onto the windshield, and then Seth Green starts crying, and then he starts crying. I was like, that shit had me rolling because they're
I
just
like
stupid. They're
even. I
so
mean, even
stupid.
even the scene. It's so small when they're going. So after they take out the radar for the and all the planes are downed, and Seth Green goes, they're going to buy a car or rent a car or whatever. And the guy's looking at Seth Green's license and he goes, "This is your driver's license? Where was it issued?" And he just goes, "In Guam." Like, let's go, hurry it up here. Like they are. They're right off the bat, they're just the biggest scammers. I mean, they're going around in Vegas at the slot machines, putting coins in from a bucket, I believe that says something like feed the homeless or something like that.
Yeah. Well, when you're first introduced to the characters, they're gonna do a scam
Oh,
where
the glass down the stairs.
it wouldn't work because Vegas is loaded with cameras at that time for sure.
And he even
They
says
were
that. You're on candid camera, so make it look good. And it's
like that.
like if he's on camera, you're on camera putting that on the ground.
All this is being recorded right now, so how are you gonna get away with it? Just think. They just don't think about what could happen,
No,
and
for and
where it does happen.
I'm guessing you'll be able to guess who my favorite group is. I'm a huge number one. I'm a huge fan of both him and her. Is
Bean,
what?
Mr. Bean,
No, not Mr. Bean. But I will say,
he
Rowan
was
Atkinson to me in this movie is basically just an Italian version of Mr. Bean.
exactly.
But no, my
He did
favorite
have.
was John Lovitz, Kathy and Jimmy, and their kids.
It was funny. I think if I were to categorize each group, I think that would probably be the second funniest.
Well, I mean, I've always been a huge John Lovitz fan myself, and even from the moment they get to the hotel, like before he even gets pulled into the race, and they get into the hotel room, and his wife makes a comment that because they're all struggling carrying their luggage, and she makes a comment that he avoided yet another tip because he said they didn't need a bellman so they could carry their own luggage. And even from that moment, and then he's like, "I'm just gonna go look around," which clearly he's gonna go gamble. And it's supposed to be this family vacation, and he's just immediately ready to dump his kids on his wife and just go take off and go have fun. Like right from the beginning, you can tell that as much as he does, yes, love his family, he's he's essentially a very selfish person that. So you know that when this whole race thing comes up, he's going to basically stop at nothing to be the one who benefits the most from it. And the
Which
things
is
that
that's
pardon?
my biggest question about that whole thing is why did he go back to the room instead of just running the race?
Instead of as soon as he got it, he left. I think it's because he had to get
The car.
well, I think it was number one, he had to get the keys for the car, but also I think that he didn't want to just vanish because they're in Vegas, they're going to New Mexico. I forget how many miles they said that is. But I also think that he didn't want to just vanish and make it seem like he abandoned his family. Because even though he would get $2 million for winning, I still think at the heart of him, he still wants to be like that family man. And so he just basically goes and tells her because he lies to her. He says he got something to do with he got a job offer or to pick something up. I think I don't know what it is exactly, but and um and immediately she's like, well, no, we're gonna come with you, like, because this is a family vacation. And but yeah, you're right. Like,
I
but at the same
understand,
time,
like,
it also he did it also because it has to be that for the movie because if it's just John Lovitz in a car, it's not funny.
no, they had to have the dynamic of a family. It's, I get it, I get it. But with my rewatch, I couldn't help but think
Well,
because
it's true because especially how much he's focused on money at the very beginning,
they
you would
didn't
think.
really establish that he cared about his family as much. He definitely does care about his family, but they didn't really take a moment
No, they didn't make it seem like that was a big part of his character.
that he really did. You know what I mean? I could
But
totally believe this type of character would just abandon for $2 million and then find a
100%.
way to call her, you know what I mean, at a fucking gas station or something. But yeah. But I get
Because
it.
I
I get
feel
it.
like
I
his character when it would come to a sum of money like that, his character would be the embodiment of it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. So
and but I get it.
I feel like you're right. He would just disappear and be like, yeah, but if I come back with $2 million, she's gonna forgive me completely and we'll just continue the vacation.
Yeah. But he needed, you know,
And
characters to bounce off. And
that's good
also
because I will say my favorite scene and some of my favorite quotes, or a couple of my favorite quotes, involve um, John Lovitz and his family.
favorite scene.
Uh-huh. It's been my favorite scene since the day I first watched this movie. It does not hold up well. It is not a good scene to find amusing, and yet I cannot stop laughing when it happens. You
So
know
it's
exactly what I'm talking about.
such a big ass coincidence.
It is, but I cannot stop laughing when it happens. Like
Also, the
even
fact
this
that
time, I knew it was coming, and I was laughing before it happened because I knew it was coming, and I was anticipating it and how hilarious it is. Now, I want to before we do get into any of these categories, what did you think of I guess Mr. Bean, and then he ends up teaming up with Mr. Wayne Knight.
Newman, sorry. It's okay. It's fucking Mr. Bean, basically, right? He's nothing. It's funny. I swear. I rewatched, like I kept replaying the scene because it was so goddamn silly. And it lets you know that this movie definitely is not taking it knows what it is. It's not taking itself too seriously. Is when Mr. Bean fucking runs and jumps
The
on the
train.
train somehow.
It's like a bullet train that he
It
catches.
somehow perfectly timed it, but just like the CG or the special effects, they didn't give a shit. It was just so funny. That part, I I just kept rewatching it because I was laughing just how it's just ridiculous,
See,
just ridiculous that
the
thing
thing that
was.
I laughed more at with his character is every time he spoke was his accent.
Oh yeah, that shit
Just
wasn't even a tap. That
no,
shit
it's just
was
the absurdity of it. I thought was absolutely hysterical. And my favorite one is um when all the characters kind of topple on top of each other in the stairwell and they're like, why don't we all just kind of split it? We'll all go for it together. And then you split $2 million 6 ways. And everyone's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then Rowan Atkinson comes down the stairs and he passes them. And in his high pitched accent, he just starts going, I am winning. And they all just start screaming, like, no, fuck that. We're going first again. And it's just the look on his face as he says, I am winning. And he's so happy and just like bouncy. I couldn't stop laughing.
yeah, it's funny. And then he just randomly slept.
The narcolepsy just standing in the middle of the casino floor and he falls asleep.
They needed to give him obstacle. Because he just randomly fall asleep. Sure, sure. He was just there. He didn't really add anything but some extra chuckles. And
I mean, that's kind of even the same thing with the Cuba Gooding Jr. thing. It's because it's hard for one person by themselves to be overly funny with, like you said, with nobody to bounce things off of.
it's true.
And I loved
True. And
when Cuba Gooding Jr. ends up on the bus with all the Lucy cosplayers, I guess.
it annoyed me because I'm such a fan of Lucille Ball and I Love Lucy. To me, that's like the greatest sitcom ever.
It was pretty great.
It's still great. That comedy still holds up. You could
Oh,
watch that
she's an
and
absolute legend.
still laugh.
One of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, man. That show is one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. I will say that. It still holds up for sure. Um I just yeah, I don't know, man. It was just the amount of them all trying to do the impression at the same time. I'm like, you ain't even at the damn con. Fucking
Yeah, they're
calm down.
already in character on the bus.
If you gonna do this the whole time, you ain't gonna. Yeah, it didn't really bother me back then. It just really bothered me rewatching it a few days ago. I was
The
like,
only one the only one with them that I didn't mind was when he's so like when they get off the bus and he's trying to change the flat tire and you see the three Lucys pushing the tire and it rolls down the road. And he starts to chase after it, and then all of a sudden the bus, you can see it literally just tips over somehow tips over completely on the side of the road, unwarranted, without any other mishap or any cause, I should say. And all of the Lucys all at once do that wah that she did. That was the
Yeah.
only time that I really found it overly funny. But I will say the scene where when the one girl's hair gets lit on fire, I was like, that's a Lucille Ball joke, 100%.
Yeah, they try to, a little bit of that humor in it. And it was okay. I got some small chuckles out of it, but it's just whenever they all were doing it at the same time, I was like,
It was a
they
bit
could have been any.
much.
There's no, it was a bit much. Like this would not happen at all.
No, I mean it would be the same. Like
No,
if it was a group of, it would be something where it's like if it was a group of men, they'd be all dressed as like Fonzie, and every single thing that would happen, they would go, "Hey," And after a while, it would be like, okay, I get it. But like you said, you're not even at the convention yet. You're on the fucking bus.
Yeah, it's like, damn. If it would have been like, I don't know, that didn't work for me.
But let's go into our categories. What would you categorize? So we'll do best scene first, or favorite scene, I guess, because it might not be the quote unquote best. But what's your favorite scene or sequence of this movie?
It's tied, I think. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think it's tied between the airport destroying the airport scene or the hot air balloon.
Okay, so they're both
How
Seth Green, Vince Villa scenes.
yeah, it was ridiculous.
I I think for me, out of those two, I prefer the airport one. Because the thing that I find it funny is it looks like they're trying to literally use their vehicle to pull the
Yeah, like
satellite
that's gonna
down.
the little ass Jeep.
And then all of a sudden, when it starts to rotate and it starts to pull the Jeep forward, it's like, well, isn't this what you wanted to try and pull it down? Well, obviously, it's not going to work. And then when it just that's for some reason, the scene of it coming through the fence, and you can see the fence like lifting up because of the cable.
Yeah.
And it's when Vince Villa first notices it, and again, he's hanging by two hands in that scream, and just the camera looking down at him as he climbs with the car coming up behind him.
Exactly.
I like that one out of those two.
Exactly. And I get it. And it just like the people that were working at the airports, like they knew it was these two guys that did it.
Oh
They were
yeah,
looking right.
the binoculars.
They would have been they would have been arrested. The police would have been out there,
Oh,
especially in
they would have had fucking
2001.
like the National Guard.
Especially in 2001, they would have. Woo,
Well,
that
no,
would have been.
because this movie came out before. This movie came out just like a month before 9/11.
Oh, yeah. In no way that that scene would have stayed in there if it came out after.
Oh no, not a chance.
Anything with the airport around that time, at least the first year or two, you couldn't. No way. So, okay, they were okay. But still, like they just walked away from it.
And how
Like,
did they even? I want to know how they even got their vehicle there. Like you would think that
yeah, I mean,
satellite dish or whatever it is would be on airport property. That's I mean I know that they cut through the fence, but it's like you would think like Las Vegas International Airport would have a little bit better security on their perimeter fence than that.
hey, it was before 9/11, man. They just weren't. They're a little bit more carefree.
Apparently,
Ooh. I guess. Yeah, exactly.
it was a weird
But no,
time.
sure. And
Now, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Um, my my favorite scene, and like I said, this would not. I can't see this being done in a movie nowadays, like in terms of the offensiveness of it, I guess. But
the
it for
absurd.
me, it's got to be the John Lovitz with the Hitler thing. Now, for those of you who haven't seen this movie, Um, as they're driving, they see a sign. The kids want to get out of the car. Because they don't know where that they're in a race yet. So the daughter sees a sign for a Barbie museum, and of course she's a little girl, so I want to go see Barbies. Well, the museum ends up being for SS senior officer Klaus Barbie of the Nazi party.
Mm.
And number one, I will say that the beginning of this, when they're in the museum, the look on John Lovitz's face, I laughed so hard. His eyes are just wide, and he's looking around like he cannot believe he is in this room, in this building. But what ends up happening is they leave, and while they were inside, one of the other racers, actually was Seth Green and his brother, see their van, and they go and cut, I don't know, their engine, like a lot. They cut something under their hood so they can't drive. So they end up stealing Hitler's, I believe they call it his touring car. But they steal Hitler's Mercedes, and through a series of mishaps, he wipes dark lipstick on the steering wheel. He accidentally gets the cigarette lighter in his mouth so it burns his tongue.
Yeah, like inhaled it.
That scene, because if you've ever touched a cigarette lighter in a car, for those of you who remembers when cars had cigarette lighters, I once touched one of those to my finger by accident, and I had a burn for like 3 to 4 weeks. So I couldn't imagine what that would feel like in my mouth. But he ends up crashing the car through a fence, and it ends up going onto a stage. And as it does that, his face hits the steering wheel, and of course imprints the lip. That's like a brown lipstick as a little mustache on his upper lip. And he gets out of the car. And number one, John Lovitz with the haircut and the mustache kind of looks like a pretty good Hitler. But because now he had the lighter in his mouth, he can't talk. And they did whatever they told him to say does really actually sound a little bit like German.
But Kyle, where'd he crash into though?
Oh, he crashed into, so I don't know if it was a memorial or some kind of a rally of World War II veterans.
What a coinky dink.
Hey, you know what? Half of what comedy is coincidence.
Yeah, that happening.
Dude, I laughed for a solid, like, I almost had to pause the movie. And again, it's a cringeworthy type scene the way it's done, but I could not help it.
It's funny. It made me laugh. I think it was just so many things needed to happen to get there. I was just like, all right, this would never. No, I can't. I have to accept this as a cartoon at this point.
Well, and
But
even
it was fun.
I
It
even
was
love the
funny.
scene. I even love the scene when they're just driving in the car and his son's playing the harmonica, and he's like, "That was Hitler's harmonica," and his daughter puts on the sunglasses and she goes, "Look at me, I'm Mrs. Hitler."
Yeah, that was funny.
I shouldn't be laughing at this, but I can't fucking help it.
It's in the movie. You got it, commenting on things that happened in the movie. But the kids were funny.
The kids were good. The kids were very good.
Yeah, they hit their lines pretty good. They had good timing.
I like when they're on the beds in the beginning and they fucking jump towards one another and just knock skulls.
Yeah, that shit was funny. It was random.
It was very, because I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna have fun. Oh shit.
That was funny shit.
And that's another one. John Lovitz just goes, "Hun, the kids need you," and he runs away.
It's perfect getaway distraction.
So those are our favorite scenes. Who would you give the best performance in this movie to? I had a very hard time coming up with this one.
Who did you put?
So the person I put has a very small role, but my favorite performance in this movie is John Cleese.
Really?
I like John Cleese. I like when he does his
John Teeth.
well, there's that, but no, how over the top he goes, especially with his laughter.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just every time I've watched this movie, I've always found him really funny. And in a way that I wouldn't expect an eccentric billionaire to be funny, if that makes sense.
I would say probably Cuba Gooding, just because it was just him. He didn't really have anybody to bounce off of, like a main type of character. He was kind of bouncing off just random people
Yeah, it
that
seemed like he was acting with extras.
so he had to go a little bit harder. Like, he had to put more of a performance in
Well, and
order to.
even the scene when he's with Paul Rodriguez, who plays the cab driver, that's the most he really has to bounce off somebody, and I thought those two worked really well together.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty good.
But yeah, like you say, the rest of it, he's basically acting against a bunch of extras or nobodies in the movie.
Yeah, so I'd say performance wise, I think he probably had to give. He gave the most. I think.
I think that's actually a really good answer. And as you're saying that, the main thing I remember of him is when he's telling the bus driver that he needs his uniform,
Oh
and he's
yeah,
because he says his wife's having a baby.
pretty much that like that. Yeah, funny.
I
That's
like
funny.
the I like because he's like, oh, I need your jacket for the amniotic sac. She's gushing, and I need your pants for the placenta. And the best is he goes, and I need your hat. What? Why do you need my hat? And he just goes for her vagina.
And then he walks out with the rest of his uniform. So is he just naked?
Yeah,
He's naked in there?
guys just got boxers on sitting in the bathroom.
Some socks probably.
And then he's
Yeah.
gonna come out, there's gonna be no car, no baby, and no bus.
It would have been funny if they would have cut back to him and he would have said something like, I, I don't know. I
That
just
would be like one of those old like
that,
Flintstones or Jetson gags, like a "It's a Living" type joke, but or like how did I get duped into this?
right? It's just fun. But yeah, yeah, my answer would definitely be Cuba Gooding for that.
How about worst performance? And you can't say John Cleese
I wouldn't no. I wouldn't say that would be the
because I know
worst.
I know you'll just instantly grab the guy I said best and go, no, he was the worst.
No. John Cleese is always to me, he's always John Cleese. Like he always hits. And he's got so many small cameos in movies where he just does his thing, makes you laugh and kind of leaves.
Yeah,
Uh it was probably the daughter of Whoopi Goldberg, to be honest.
yeah, that's where I'm
Oh,
going to.
I just 'cause even what's his face? The other dude, the Meyer.
Oh, Breckin Meyer.
He he played his role. Like that's exactly who he was supposed to play, this boring character. So
I feel that he at least had screen presence.
yeah, yes, yeah, more than her
Yeah,
for
now the
sure.
actress that we're referring to is Lanai, I believe is how it's pronounced. Chapman played Meryl, who's Whoopi Goldberg's daughter. Yeah, she was basically a nothing character who just again, I think she was just there for to play somewhat of a straight man to Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, you should have put another someone on Whoopi Goldberg's level, somebody who can can act, but also really good at comedic timing and delivery.
Yeah.
I don't know at the time.
I mean, I even felt Whoopi was kind of dialed back in this movie. As much as I enjoyed her, I'm used to her. I know that I think her character was more reserved, but I'm used to her being a little bit more kind of out there and flamboyant. But I did enjoy her for what she did in this movie.
It's fine, you know.
And again,
But
I
you know,
wonder, I wonder if her being a little underwhelming had to do with the person that she was working off of.
oh yeah, absolutely. Because the dynamic reason why she, there is because of her daughter and she act with her daughter, so everything she's about is with her daughter at that time. So yeah, if you would have paired her with a different character, or even if you would have got somebody like a at the time, I don't know, I'd say maybe like I don't know if you know this, like Kim Wayans, which is the sister of Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans. I think
Yep.
she would have been a much better choice
Regina
because she,
King.
re- yeah,
Regina
she's
King
fine,
would have been fantastic
doing great too.
as her daughter.
Um, yeah, and it would have worked better for sure. I think it would have elevated Whoopi character as well if
Yeah.
she had somebody who was funny at all to bounce off of.
Now, I don't know how many. I don't know what your thoughts are on favorite quote. I wrote down about 6 of them.
I have quotes. I don't know what he said though, because he wasn't speaking any actual words that I could comprehend.
Oh, you're
And
talking Vince.
anything he had said or sounds he made with his mouth were my quote.
I will say I didn't understand them, but I was at least able to see what he said because I watch movies with subtitles on.
Okay.
So at least I mean, the only time I was ever able to actually understand what he was saying was at the very end. So before we get into this real quick, the way the movie ends is they all get to
Uh,
the locker and it's empty. And it turns out that a hooker that John Cleese and his other rich friends had hired earlier went with his second in command, played by Dave Thomas, to check and see how things were going to end at the finish line. And she stole the money. And they all chase after her. There's all these, again, more coincidences. And they end up at what is it, Feed the Earth concert, I think. And it's the most 2001, well, this movie was filmed probably in 2000. So the most 2000 band you could ever possibly imagine. And it's a fucking Smash Mouth concert. And the only reason I bring that up is because that is the only part of the movie when he has a line that I could close my eyes and I could understand what he's saying. And it's when they're all giving the money to the charity. And he's saying basically to Seth Green, like, because Seth Green won't give his money up. He's like, no, like, you guys can do whatever you want, but I'm keeping this.
I wouldn't either.
I,
And
well,
I wouldn't either.
I don't know
I'm like,
that's a lot of peer pressure coming into, and they're on like national television, and
like I would have made an agreement with everybody, and we all would have pitched in to give like 20,000 or something.
nope,
I
they
ain't give.
give the whole 2 million.
I'm like, look, I need feed. I need to eat too. There's no way. I just wouldn't. I don't care. Hey, there's no way.
But yeah, that's
No,
the only time I ever remember. He says something about like mom, like our mom is watching in heaven. Like, what would she do?
I don't give a damn.
But that's the only line of his that I could actually pick out what he says. Everything else is just gibberish.
his tongue had healed a little bit at that point. And they needed him to speak clearly. So I get it, but
Because they need that
just
to be a bit of an emotional moment.
yeah, couldn't have been. That's supposed to. That's supposed to be the one serious scene in the movie.
So some of the quotes that I wrote down was when, again, it's John Lovitz's family, and it's the scene, and I had never heard this before until this movie. It's when his daughter says, "Pull over, I gotta go to the bathroom," and he's telling her like, "Oh, pee in a bottle." This, and he says to his son, "Get a bottle or a jar and a funnel," and she goes, "No, Dad, it's number 2," and she goes, "I'm prairie dogging it." And I had never heard that before, and immediately he goes, "What the hell is that?" And she goes, "When a prairie dog sticks his head in and out of the ground." And John Lovitz and Kathy Najimy's reaction to that line is exactly what mine would have been. But for some reason, I find it so funny every time. And then he makes
Because
her fucking shit out the window.
which is horrible.
Oh, that's like the cops pull him over. I'm sorry, the cops are taking your children at that point.
Oh yeah, you're
If you're making your
arrested.
child take a
Oh,
shit out the window of a moving vehicle, you've just lost your kids.
consequences would have been dire for sure. But no, yeah, that was once I did. It was a quote I did not hear before, but it has forever been a line that's been stuck in my head ever since.
So I have that one. I have another one. It's right after they steal Hitler's car, and his son goes, "Dad, they're gonna be pissed." And John Lovitz goes, "They're always pissed. They're Nazis. It's like it's their job."
Yeah, yeah, that's a
And
good one.
my last two are both from John Cleese, and one I think it kind of sums up his whole character. And they're saying like, "You can't just play with people's lives like this," and he says, "I can do anything I like. I'm eccentric."
It makes those weird sounds.
Oh, when he starts doing like the I feel like in movies and TV, that's how any rich character is portrayed. Like they can do whatever they want because they're rich.
I had no doubt that's what rich billionaires do in some form or another. I'm sure that has probably happened in some form or another where they did
Because how
that
many
just
how
like
many people do you think are sitting in that room betting on this? 30?
I'd say about maybe a little less than that.
Yeah.
There's
No,
a bunch of billionaires.
and the last quote that I have written down, and it's something that I've always found funny, and I think a lot of it is John Cleese's delivery. I'm not going to even try to do it justice the way he does. Um, but it's when he tells them like, "Okay, go, you're racing, whatever," and they're like, "So when you say go, you mean just like go?" And he says, "Yes, in fact, you've all been racing now for about 40 seconds, and Mr. Schaefer is winning because he's nearest to the door." And
Yeah,
they all just look at Breckenmeyer's character like, "Huh?" And then he pulls the gun out and fucking shoots it.
yeah, yeah. Solid. You didn't get much of them, which is
No,
good.
him and Dave Thomas, who for non-Canadians might not know, he's the other half of Bob and Doug McKenzie with Rick Moranis.
Mhm.
I like when he's introduced and John Cleese says, "Whatever his name is, this is my attorney. Unfortunately, he was born without a personality." But I really don't have much else. I mean, the plot of this movie is pretty basic. It's random strangers. Here's your destination. The winner gets $2 million. Go. Like, there's not a whole lot to it. Um,
Yeah.
but I think I've kind of run through everything that I have written down. If is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to get to?
Mm, no, we covered everything.
Oh, and I will before we move on to final thoughts, I want to make this PSA announcement. If you ever come across a crazy lady who wants you to buy a squirrel, buy a fucking squirrel.
I would have just lied. I would have said like I'm allergic or something. I would have
Or you buy it and throw it out the window.
buy no damn squirrel.
That's another great role in this movie is that very little, very small role by Kathy. Academy Award winning Kathy Bates. There are 3 Oscar winners in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got Cuba Gooding Jr., Whoopi Goldberg, and Kathy Bates in a fucking comedy called Rat Race.
No, yeah, no, it's very solid movie.
Well, let's move into final thoughts then. I'll give mine first. Yeah, like I said, I hadn't rewatched this movie in about 10 to 15 years, but I think it still holds up for the most part. Like we said, there are some scenes and some parts and lines that you kind of have to shake your head at, but you know what? You can't go back in time and fix it or change it. It's just how things were. Um, so you just kind of roll with the punches and go with it. But I really enjoy this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's another one of those stupid comedies to just put on and have a laugh and kind of kill an hour and a half. Well, this movie's almost 2 hours, so it's a good way to kill a couple hours. But I would definitely recommend this to somebody if they've never seen it, especially if you just want to watch a comedy movie and not have to pay too much attention. I think overall, I'm probably going to give this mainly for the enjoyment factor alone. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And as I said, I would recommend it to people to watch it if they've never seen it. And if you have seen it and it's been a while, give it a shot. Rewatch it. You'll enjoy it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, this is a solid movie. Cast is pretty good. Um, this is like the perfect movie you could watch during like a holiday with your family. Definitely just throw this on. You don't have to pay so much attention to it. You're gonna get pretty consistent amount of laughs. Not a whole lot of cringy, well, depends on your level of how you cringy moments. It is early 2000 comedy, so yeah, there's gonna be some things that you couldn't get away with today, but it would still make you laugh because if you can laugh at things like that, which if you can, then yeah, you'll have a good time with this movie. Don't recommend it if you have a very dry type of humor. You're not going to get that here. Very over the top. But I think that's the point of this movie. It doesn't take itself serious. It knows what it is, and it executed it very well. I give this movie a 7 out of 10.
It's funny. It's funny you said that you could put it on at like a family gathering because this might be one of maybe just a handful of movies from this time frame from the early 2000s that isn't basically a raunch comedy. Like the majority of comedies coming out then, the late 90s, early 2000s, the American Pies, the Road Trips, those are super raunchy comedies that are all focused so much on sex and toilet humor and
Shock
things like
value.
that, where this movie doesn't have a lot of that, which I
Oh,
was kind of surprised looking back on it, just because of when it came out.
Yeah, it has an old school feel to it almost. Like this movie could have been made in the 80s or even the 70s, and um, it still would have
Well, it's
equally as funny.
I think a part of that is the movie is loosely based on a movie from 1963 called "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World," which I've never
Oh,
seen, but it's about a guy. I believe he gets into a car accident, and then he tells there's people that come to kind of help him, and he tells them about this secret stash of loot, and then they all go on like this mad race to try and get it. I've never seen
oh,
it. I just know that it's kind of loosely based on that. So I think they might have been trying to kind of keep that movie and kind of it's to kind of honor it more. And I doubt that movie had a ton of that raunch comedy because I mean 1963 that wasn't really the norm.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, it definitely stands out amongst all the.
It's surprisingly wholesome, I will say.
Yeah,
But on
well,
that note, I think that's going to do it for this episode. And that will conclude our series of underrated movies. And moving now, we are in October, so we are going to be moving on to our what I'm going to be calling our Spooktober. Ha ha ha! Get it? And we're going to be starting that next week. And I think yeah, Juan, you're going to pick the first movie. So oh god, I feel I'm going to regret this. What are we watching next week?
oh no, no, this movie is
Be something good.
technically
Be something good. Be something good.
technically a horror movie in the realm of monsters, aliens, I guess.
You are
It
going to make me watch this, aren't you?
no, this is the first time I guess the world was introduced to a certain actor who since then has been the star of a very successful franchise series of movies. I'm picking the 2000 sci-fi horror movie Pitch Black.
Let's fucking go. I love this movie. Or at least I did when I saw it.
I haven't seen it in so long, and it fits in the theme, so I was like, why not?
Yeah, I remember I saw this movie. This definitely was a blockbuster one. I saw this with some friends of mine. And again, it was mine and pretty much everybody else's or most people's introduction to Vin Diesel. So I'm looking forward to
Mm,
rewatching this because again, it's been a long time since I've watched Pitch Black.
been a while
And
for
I've
me
never
too.
seen any of the spin-offs.
See, actually, the Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick.
Riddick? Nope, never seen those.
Chronicles of Riddick is okay. It's fucking insane.
I was good with one dose of Riddick.
Yeah, he kind of peaked at Pitch Black 100% for sure. And I
And
loved that movie.
if
I've been
memory
loving it.
serves right, there's some other pretty good actors in here.
There's at least,
Am I right in remembering that Cole Hauser is in this movie?
yeah, he's like the fucking leader guy who fucking hates Vin
Yeah.
Diesel. And then you got Keith David.
Okay, I was gonna
He's
let you because I always again I think I've said this before on here. I always mix up Keith David and David Keith. I know who each actor is. Their names I can never remember which one is which.
hey, it's fine. Just say both, so you're never wrong.
Yeah, the stars Keith David David Keith,
There you go.
or do like the Jeopardy before the Wheel of Fortune before and after Keith David Keith. And that's going to do it for this episode. So don't forget to give us a rating, leave us a review. It'll really help us grow, and we'd really appreciate that. Also, give us a follow on our socials. I'll post those in the show notes. And as always, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for listening. Take care, everybody.
Peace.